acknowledge that again, as likewise in the newspaper article, you have chosen not to praise the Prime Minister. You could have said he's the man to steer us through the troubled times. You didn't mention him once. Why?
Well, because it was an article whose second paragraph said the debate has to be about issues and argument, not personalities. Now, I might be wrong about this. You might insist that personality comes before issue and argument. I don't believe that. I believe that the future of this country depends on a clear policy agenda based on clear values, strong values, and a sense of where Britain can be and the sort of country it can be in 2015 or 2020. Does Gordon Brown have those values and that vision? Yes. And however many times one writes articles, there'll always be something that you do say or you don't say. But the important thing is the argument right? Is it right that there's a Labour record that we should be proud of but not satisfied by? I say yes. Is it right that there is a clear Labour vision of change in 2015 or 2020? I say yes. And is it correct that we can get after the Tories and actually make them look a bit less clever than they're saying they are at the moment? I say yes.
Minister Frattini,
you talked about all the important aspects with regard to G8, and there was enlarged in G8, the last G8. How do you see that UK is going to be able to participate? For example, the IMF and the World Bank will be able to work with, in fact, very poor countries. Well, I certainly hope that the British government will help us with advice, will help us with proposals, and I get the impression that my first reaction of Mr. Miliband, David's first reaction, he reacted very positively with regard to this question of the governance, economic governance, and also the idea of having a new Bretton Woods agreement is also an interesting idea. But of course, we're just at the beginning, and I just wanted to try today to anticipate a number of proposals, to think about certain proposals in advance, and we've agreed that we're going to get together before the end of the year to have another opportunity to be able to have a more detailed meeting with regard to the actual substance of our agenda. And I think that for the G8 model, I think what we've got to do is to really have a model which has concrete proposals and rather than just lots of documents full of beautiful words. And I'm saying this very sincerely because it's obvious that if we take into consideration the major crises that we're living through, we have to set up certain objectives. We have to also have proposals with regard to solutions. And of course, we have to really concentrate on specific arguments, a few arguments, but of course, which have a great global impact. And that's the way in which we're thinking of working and the way in which we're thinking of working in the coming months.
Nick Cecil from the Evening Standard. Foreign Secretary, can I ask you, do you believe that Gordon Brown is the only man who can lead Labour into the next general election?
Gordon's leadership, I think, is one which has shown itself to be of strong values. It's one that's shown itself to have brought a team around him who are able to make a contribution, and that is a good thing. But in the end, this is about ideas and argument. And I think that can Gordon lead us into the next election and win? Yes. I'm absolutely sure of that. The question, of course, is about our competition with the Conservatives, not about our competition amongst ourselves. And I believe that the challenge in my article today is a challenge to David Cameron rather than a challenge to Gordon Brown. Because it says that people in the Labour Party supporting Gordon Brown throughout the cabinet and elsewhere don't just have a hunger to keep changing the country. We actually have the ideas that will take this country forward. And the truth is, we've made a start over the last 11 years. Some things have gone well, other things haven't gone as well. We've got to have the honesty to recognise that. So the record has to be defended, but also acknowledged. Secondly, we've got to have the forward vision, and then we've got to take it to the Tories. Can Gordon Brown lead us in taking on those Tories and, more important, delivering for the country? Yes.
Okay, last question.
Andy Bell, 5 News. Foreign Secretary, so will you here put on the record that you're ruling yourself out
from challenging Gordon Brown for the leadership?
Look, how many times can I say that this is about argument, about issues, about a united Labour response? Remember, on Friday, I said that Labour had to pull together. At a press conference in Birmingham with the Pakistani Foreign Minister, I said Labour had to pull together to address the big issues facing the country. On Sunday, Jack Straw, rightly in my view, said that we won't persuade the country that we're concerned about their issues if we turn in on ourselves. Instead, we've got to turn out and address the real issues that the country is facing. Today, Harriet Harman has said it's right that we have a range of contributions that show the breadth of talent in the party, the breadth of opinion, I think she said, the breadth of ideas in the party. That is right. And we've then got to blast through your permanent obsession with the personality cult and actually say there are people out there who don't want the emptiness of the Tories and do want a real Labour offer of continued big change in this country. And there are pressing economic, social and political issues that we need to address, political issues to do with how we mend the political system. And I think that what's interesting is that New Labour Mark I is the starting point of that debate. I don't believe the Conservatives can go beyond that. I think they've caught up with 1997 but don't know how to go beyond it. We do know how to go beyond it. We actually have a good and clear view of the economic, social and political challenge that this country faces. I would also say, since I'm here with the Italian Foreign Minister, I also think we've got a good foreign policy and we've got some ideas about how, in the international dimension, we're actually going to help build not just security and prosperity abroad, but also improve our own situation at home. And I think that's an agenda that the Labour Party is ready to get on and put to the country, and that's an important and good thing to be doing.
Just say that.
But it's a never-ending game. I went through this for 3 years before last year's election. None of you believed a word I said then, but actually it turned out to be true. And the important thing is that I've written an article that follows up what I said on Friday, what Jack Straw has said, what Harriet Harman has said. And in the end, we are going to be determined to address the real issues. Because I tell you this, it doesn't matter who the personality is if you haven't got the real ideas that address real issues. The starting point for us has got to be, are we the people offering more change at the next election than the Conservatives? I believe we can. We can't take it for granted or just assert it. We've got to do it.
Would the Labour Party be mad to change its leader before the next general election?
Look, you can... Would the Labour Party be mad? I, as a loyal member of the Labour Party, would say the Labour Party never does mad things. We have got to be a party that's actually a responsible party of government. I'm here today doing my job. And my job is to work with people from around the world and to represent this country abroad to make sure that the international threats we face, whether to our security or to our prosperity, are addressed. Getting on with the job is the starting point. Defending the record, important part of it. Establishing a clear vision of the future, essential. We're a party which hasn't run out of steam. It's not legislating for the Cones hotline in the way that the major government was in its dog days. We're a government that's actually addressing big issues, controversial issues, that actually divide people and show what your values are. And that's true whether on domestic policy or on international policy. And however much it would be more fun for you to have a personality debate, we are determined to have a debate about the real issues. And that will be true on the domestic scene and on the foreign policy scene. And today, when I meet Bernard Kouchner, the Foreign Minister of France, we're not having a seminar about the future of the Labour Party. We're having a discussion about the situation in Afghanistan. We're having a dinner that's addressing the real issues of the French presidency of the European Union. I think that's my job, and I should get on with it. Thanks very much indeed.